of the alcohol. La 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all. La 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome. And every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome. So order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome. And every mother must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome. So order up around for you and me. And you and me. And you and me. Let there be whiskey.
And I'm Chris. Oh, hey, why isn't that working? It was working earlier. The desktop audio, hold on. They didn't get your whole intro. I tested it earlier and it was working, so hold on. I can fix this. Yep, god damn it. That's what it is. Okay, you should be good now.
Now, should I just start over?
Yeah, let's just start over.
Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to Nerds with Alcohol. I am Russ.
And I'm Chris.
And that's Chris. Take two. Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol, guys. It's episode 279. 279. Back in the virtual nerd basement. We are getting close to that 300 mark. It is coming up this fall. So be sure
hey, CD.
Your ears peeled. Hey, CD, thanks for the heads up on the no Russ. Wow, a lot of things to talk about today. We're going to talk about a bunch of video game stuff because E3 was over the weekend. We're going to talk about some current events. We had a D&D game last Friday that I was unable to attend because I was hanging out in a strip bar body painting strippers.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that a whole lot because I'm waiting for you to continue watching it.
Right.
Because I know it's at one point, I'm just going to get a text from you.
You're going to get a text from me, huh?
Yes.
You said nobody died, Chris.
Nobody died, but there was, that doesn't mean there wasn't any oh shit moments.
All right. All right. Fine. How was your week?
The week was pretty good. I have officially started my new job, my new old job.
So now you're now officially like hired in to the official team kind of thing.
Yep. And it was funny. I was making jokes, about, well, I'll look into that. It is only my first day and on Monday. So it was when I was talking with some guys who I've been talking with for close to 3 months now. And I'm like, well, it is my first day, so I'm gonna I'll have to look into that. But yeah, so I'm happy about that. We did have the game on Friday. That went great, even though there were only 4 people there. Alexandra did make it back to the U.S., so she is back in the States. Had to spend a little extra time in London.
What happened?
One of them, either her or her sister, tested positive for COVID.
Oh no!
And so they had to wait until they got a negative test. Because it was the day before the U.S. lifted the ban.
Figures. Okay.
But yeah, so other than that, golfed last week. I don't think I'm golfing tomorrow because fuck that heat.
Yeah, guys, we're looking at 95 to 100 degrees potentially with the heat index way over 100 tomorrow. Actually, my boss called off work. He told us to come in. Yeah. So I'm actually taking the rest of the week off because they were actually saying, Russ, you should probably, if you're going to take any time off, you should probably do it now because you're not going to be able to in the next couple of weeks. And I, okay, so I'm going to take the rest of the week off.
Yeah, CD, I don't doubt that because what you get today, we get tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So holy shit balls. So we gas is about 5.25 around here in Detroit. It is that's insanity.
Yeah, yesterday was the last time I saw it because I didn't go out at all today. But yesterday I saw it was 509. over here.
I saw $5.19 at one place where it's usually one of the cheaper places. It's anywhere from 5.09 to like 5.25, 5 for that's for the lowest end kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, get out that kiddie pool. Yeah, we're gonna start just gonna lay in the water. But yeah, gas is unbelievably expensive right now. It's the highest rate of inflation we've had in decades. So it looks like a lot of road trips are going to get canceled this summer.
And unlike what those fucking stickers I see everywhere of Biden pointing at the gas thing saying, I did this, he did not do that.
He did not do that. The president has nothing to do with gas prices. Now, I have heard some people say, well, one of the reasons why, blah, 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 because of the pipeline and this, that, and the other thing. That pipeline, all of that oil that went through that pipeline that was going to go through to the Gulf of Mexico was not going to be sold in the States. All of that oil was going to be processed and then sold overseas.
And it also would have been years before any of that was actually realized anyway. So that has nothing to do with this current situation. A lot of this has to do with COVID and that the fact that they really ramped down and a lot of the refineries closed. And several of them,
it's only 8% completed anyway. I mean, it was like, and this is just blaming Biden for the gas prices is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, speaking of that, before we get into all of this, what are you drinking?
Oh wow!
Because
Ghosthand just said that we're burning. He's freezing down, or they're freezing down there in Brazil. 64. Wow. Man, I would take 64.
Why? I mean, 64 in Brazil? It's because, yeah.
Well, I mean, if they're south of the equator, then it's technically going into winter down there. So
yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
So what am I drinking?
Yeah, what are you drinking? Before we get into,
I'll say you didn't even talk about your week at all.
Oh, well, I had a cool week, man. I mean, work was worky, and we're getting into we're getting.
It's funny how often work is worky.
Work is very worky. We're doing some of the very early stuff for these new floats. We're working on some of the decks and whatnot. I haven't gotten a whole lot from Sculpture yet because they're still kind of getting the tech drawings in, but some of the for the sculptures, but some of the metal work has been coming in. We're working on stuff for Cherry Fest in Traverse City. We're working on preparatory shit for the 4th of July, the big fireworks that we do, the Freedom Fest. So there's that. A lot of my coworkers this week have decided, because like I said, we're kind of ramping up. We're still waiting on we have designs, but now we're working on like the tech stuff. And so some of my guys are taking time off of this week because it's the last gasp that we have before we really get into the shit. So particularly with 9 new floats to make, eight big floats to make this year. So like a bunch of my friends and coworkers are going to Lake Sapphire, and they're actually there today. And at Lake Sapphire, for those guys who don't know, Lake Sapphire is a big Burning Man adjacent affiliated event here in Detroit. It's in the Lucky Lake campground, the Lucky Lake campground.
It's a fire festival.
It's like I said, it's associated with Burning Man. It's like something between 3,000 to 5,000 people go, and it's a weekend. It's an extended weekend long kind of event. It's like 5 days, something like that. I think it starts on Thursday or Wednesday. It starts tomorrow. I think it starts on Wednesday. It's about 3 hours drive from Detroit, 3.5 hour drive from Detroit, and it's a pretty big deal. I cannot go because this coming weekend I will be performing as Marcus Kent, the Pirate Prince at the Canterbury Village. It's his character I've created for the weekend.
I hope the weather fucking cools off by then.
It's supposed to. It's supposed to be in the mid 70s, so we'll see.
That's still toasty for being in any sort of costume.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but it's not. I mean, I'm used to that. It's not a big deal. Mid 70s is nothing. It's when you're cracking the mid 80s, that's when it starts getting uncomfortable. So when I'm Oliver Ogre at Canterbury for the medieval stroll in mid-July, that's where it's going to get a little toasty. Because that costume. I did have a great time hanging out this weekend. On Sunday, Stella and I took Dresden to a friend's house, actually, Dutch's place, out because Dutch here on the show here, she adopted, because I didn't even know it was my friend. She kind of revealed it to me over the weekend. But she adopted, had to kind of second adopt one of the other dogs from Dresden's litter, Maeve, and the original owners couldn't keep her. They had to move, and they had to move in an apartment. They couldn't keep her and stuff. So thankfully Dutchie took control, took ownership, took parenting. What? I don't know what
it's puppy parenting.
Puppy parenting, yeah. Took over with Maeve, and it's just they live in this beautiful big house in Ortonville on 4 acres. She's got all the room, and Dresden and Maeve did end up in the pond at several points. Yeah, she's definitely another kid in her house. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, Dresden decided to go for well, I don't think he realized that it was a pond because it was covered in like green algae. And so I think he went in thinking, oh, this is just more ground, and discovered it wasn't. So thankfully it was very shallow and he got out, but he was just muddy. And then Maeve decided, hey, I'm going in too, and found something she went full bore, man. She was like, found something that smelled really good to her. And yeah, Jeebus, the smell. They smelled of swamp. It was pretty funny. But we were able to hose them off, and then Dresden got a big bath when he got home. We had a great time. We barbecued, and Dutch and her husband got Impossible burgers for Stella, and we had it was just really a great time. It was a nice
Cool.
time, nice day. And that was about it really for I did have my body paint gig on Friday night at Legends. That was nice. It was very profitable. So that was, even though I didn't want to miss the game, and it sucks missing D&D, at least I made some coin. So that was good. And it was a good time. Good night. So I ran into some friends that were performing. This was a circus night, So yeah, what are you drinking, man? Because I'm not drinking tonight. I got my old standby. I got some Pepsi tonight. I'm not.
I am drinking a thing I just found at Kroger, actually. It's a new Blake's cider.
Oh, you're doing the cider. Okay.
Yep. It is called Tropicolata. It is orange, coconut, and pineapple hard cider. That's what. There we go. That's what the can looks like. I actually have my window open tonight because it's so nice, and otherwise it'd be too warm.
Yeah, it's kind of nice now.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, now we were talking about good pineapple ciders. Now Ace does a good one. Blake's does the Rainbow Seeker, and that's pretty good. This stuff, what do you think? What do you like about this? Because it's got all the coconut.
Well, let me just read what it says here on the back. Tropicolata. If you like pina coladas, this is one you'll want to get mixed up with. Juicy pineapple, tangy orange, and fresh coconut. There's a lot to love about this hard cider twist on the Island Classic.
Jesus. All right.
A tropical vacation in every can. So mix it up with white rum and pour it over ice, because adding alcohol with alcohol is always a good idea.
Of course.
Enjoy as is, and garnish with maraschino cherries, or blend it with rum, coconut cream, and ice, which that actually probably would be pretty good. Be your own bartender. Blah blah blah. It goes into a few things there. I like this one. There was one thing I couldn't put my finger. I'm like, I like it, but there's something off on it that is kind of got me like, I'm not sure about it. And Renee actually pointed out what it is, and that's the orange in it. If it was just pineapple and coconut, this would be spectacular. The orange actually brings it down, in my opinion.
Okay.
But it does have a lot of, mostly because the orange overpowers the pineapple a little bit, I think.
Alcohol to alcohol? Yes.
But yes, the the coconuts actually quite stand out. It stands out quite a bit in it. I'm gonna take it. It's also very clear. It's a light yellow color. This one's almost gone. I got a whole nother one here, but yeah, it's almost like an orange coconut with a little bit of pineapple flavor. But I do like it. I'd probably give it like a 3.75. I actually do really enjoy it. It is very refreshing. I'm a huge pina colada fan. I love that combo, that flavor combo of pineapple coconut.
So you like getting caught in the rain?
Yeah, I do. I can't think of the next line. So, but yes, I would definitely suggest this one if you like those kinds of flavors. So,
I have never actually been a big pina colada guy, but I'm interested to try this out. Yeah, this new flavor. Gotta love the new them creating all these new flavors and stuff. So,
nice day IPA for CD.
If we're not into yoga,
yeah.
Thanks, Dutch. Oh man. Well, Dutch's husband is a musician, so that makes sense that she'd know that. Oh man. So yeah.
Lots of shit going on this week.
Lots of shit. Like, okay, on a lighter note, Johnny Depp won his court case. So now we don't have to look at that ridiculousness on our
but there's so much new ridiculousness.
There's so much new ridiculous. So congratulations to Johnny. Thankfully he got more or less exonerated. I mean, but I still stand by the fact that they were both garbage individuals in that relationship.
Yeah,
and,
I think so.
Should probably both be taken to task for the shit that they did. But moving on, the trial or the hearings, the January 6th hearings have been going on. I've been kind of cursory paying attention. You said you were watching them the other day.
I've watched most of all but the last half hour of the first one, which was on Friday, I think. And it's interesting because there's a lot of footage that was never seen before. Mm-hmm. You can see exactly what was going on. Yeah. I was listening to the first couple of shit. My neighbors are out mowing. Damn it. All right.
Guess you're gonna cook in your office there.
Yeah. Well, the air's on now too. So
I read some of the bullet points from the first night, and I was just like, holy shit, just that alone.
Yeah, I mean, some of the shit that's going on and some of the stuff that they've been seeing. I mean, I don't understand how anyone can see even what I've seen in that first episode, really, because that's what they are. Because it's gonna be going on over
weeks,
5 weeks, I think it is.
Yeah,
5 or 6 weeks, and watching that.
You watch Fox? I'm looking at the highlights on YouTube, man. That's
and I just don't understand how anyone can still support what happened that day and what that actually was. Let alone Trump, leaving him even out of it. That was a planned attack. Mm-hmm. And it's very obvious that it was a planned attack. Now, whether or not he truly coordinated it is another story, but it looks a lot like he did.
It looks at the very least he had a hand in it. He had a hand in some sort of coordinating.
That said, do I think this is going to change anything? No, because the Trumpettes that are out there are not going to be swayed by anything that comes out from the liberal left-wing media, and they're not going to be swayed by any of this. It's not going to change any of his followers' minds, and it's not going to change the minds of anyone who's not one of his followers.
Well, one of the things that I think it was one of the points that they made and that they were trying to drive home, that it seemed to me, is that Donald Trump, and guys, we don't want to dwell on this too much, but this is a pretty big fucking deal, and
this is a huge deal here in the U.S.
And we here at Nerds with Alcohol, we like to try and address things, the really huge things that happen in the media at times, and here in what's going on. So we were going to talk about it for a little while, and then we'll get into our normal nerdy shit. But yeah, he was okay if Pence got
yeah, and I was going to get to that. That's one of the things they came up with.
And so they've been trying to really push that Donald Trump didn't call the cops, didn't call the National Guard, none of that
did
shit.
Nothing.
That basically Mike Pence was the one that called in for reinforcements. He was the one, and he was acting as the president pretty much that day, even though he didn't really have any power to do so. Yeah. And so what I'm guessing is that the Republicans are trying to set up Mike Pence as either a victim of Donald Trump's ineptitude, or that paint him a little bit more as a hero, so that Mike Pence could have a viable run at the White House in the next election. And
that may very well be the case. And while I can't stand Mike Pence, I think that would be a horrible thing for the country to have him in as president.
Yeah.
Just because of his kind of crazy beliefs.
Right.
But I think it would still be better than Trump. The problem, one of the things that they were saying, and that's the thing. So Trump was watching that whole thing and on TV, and they said that he had cabinet members, he had staff, he had family, all telling him that he needed to do something.
Yeah, yeah.
And he just sat there watching it. And when they erected the gallows and were calling for Pence and talking about hanging him, Trump's response was, maybe they got the right idea.
Yeah, exactly. Even his daughter had stated that she believed the attorney general at the time that was telling Trump the election was not stolen, you lost. We need to deal with that.
And that was Bill Barr who was out there. He's trying to save his political career too, because he was a full-on head up into Trump's stomach. It was so far up his ass.
Went all the way through the intestine.
Yeah.
Was checking out what he had for lunch.
Yeah. Trump would eat it, and then Barr would eat it right after. It was. But even he was on there saying, no, I told him repeatedly, this was not stolen. There was absolutely no evidence for it. There was nothing that we could do. And that everything that he was trying to do was illegal, like trying to get the other states to change.
Find those votes.
Yeah, find those votes, which I guess is something they're going to get into in a couple of weeks. But
that conversation that he had with the governor of
Georgia.
I think it was the governor of Georgia.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, that's those things that, like, I've got a guy at work that is a big Trump supporter. He's an older guy. He's like either what you'd consider like a very young boomer. I think you'd probably consider him a very young boomer. Like he's on that cusp right there. And he's like 61 or 62. And he said that he's really, he's a Trump supporter, and he's always justifying these things. He's like, he said the other day, he goes, he felt that Donald Trump did wonderful things for this country. And I'm like, and he goes, I wasn't perfect. He wasn't perfect. I mean, it was like, he said things and pissed people off, and I get it, but he did some really, and I'm like, oh God, the dude did illegal shit.
Trump did things that benefited Trump.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. And that was one of the things that I said. It was, the Cheeto. the
king gaslighter.
But he was and I said to him, I go, Donald Trump was only interested in bettering himself and his buddies, his rich friends. Donald Trump used his position to set himself up and set up his company and to give his company advantages and basically to help himself, so that when he did leave office, that he'd be even richer. He'd be even richer, because it's not like he just divested himself of all of his holdings. He gave all of his shit to his kid to run. I mean, Ghost was saying that he's scared about, because they're dealing with something similar in Brazil.
Yeah.
And it's fucking frightening, because the example that Donald Trump set, people are gonna start copying the shit.
And if somebody's smarter, they'll get away with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's definitely must-watch TV for me, I think, is watching this and seeing what happens, because it's history.
Yeah, it is very much so. I mean, this kind of thing has not happened in my lifetime. You know, the closest thing we've come to, I mean, we've had a couple of impeachments, but these were like, I mean, this is serious shit. This is serious.
And, you know, Liz Cheney, not a fan of her dad, but I got mad respect for her for standing up against her party, knowing that she's basically committing political suicide.
Yeah.
And standing up for what's right, and repeatedly saying, we took an oath to the country and the Constitution, not to a political party or to a person. Right.
One thing that I did see, and they almost said something from France. Yep. It's true. I mean, this kind of thing is just, we're living in a pretty chaotic time right now. One thing that I did see that was kind of cool. Apparently, there is a bill being introduced. I think in either in the Senate or in one of the states, that is bipartisan. That is hopefully going to deal with some of the gun law situations shit that we're dealing with. I saw some headline. I read part of it, but my brain is Swiss cheese right now. And I think some guys crossed the aisle to draft some kind of resolution or something about dealing with gun law. I can't remember what it was.
Senators reach a bipartisan deal on gun safety legislation.
Guns, thank you. God damn, I can't speak at all. It's a toothless show to save their asses from doing nothing, maybe, but you know, I mean, anything is better than nothing at this point, man. We got to do something about this gun, the gun situation in this country. It's just, I mean, every day I've got a news app. I've got like 2 news apps on my phone, and every day I'm seeing another shooting. Now I'm sure, you know, things like this happen all the time, and it's just like, and maybe it's being a little more visible now because we're paying so much more attention to it. But we got to do something, man. This is getting ridiculous. I'm sick. I'm just like sick to my stomach almost every day, hearing about another, 4 people that got shot here, and 3 people that got shot over here, and 5 people that got shot over there. And god damn, man. Did you hear about the fire at Somerset?
No.
Yeah, apparently there was a fire at Somerset Mall. One of the big ritzy mall, the ritziest mall in the area here, had a pretty substantial fire. The mall is still apparently open, but they blocked off a big part of it.
Okay. So moving on from that, well, I'm sure we'll talk more as they bring more stuff.
Watch it. Watch this stuff. Chris is right. This is history in the making here. Pay attention, because we got midterm elections coming up this year, and these are some of the things that are going to make or break political careers. They're going to define who gets.
They're saying the Democrats are just going to get obliterated in the midterms this year.
No, hopefully not.
So we need to get out and vote.
Yeah.
But along with that, some more crazy ass news. Ezra Miller.
Oh my God.
Lost their damn mind. I mean, they've always been weird.
Yeah.
And odd. And I'm going to try to continue using the proper pronoun, but it's really hard for me to say they and them when I'm talking about a single person. That still bothers me.
Because we're old. It's all right.
It's not even that we're old. I think that's a plural. And
it is.
And I think that there should be something that is for those who are non-binary. They should have their own pronoun, not using a plural. I think that, and I think it's up to them to decide what that is. But
no, I feel you, man. I mean, I got several friends that prefer the they them pronouns, and I do my best to use them, but there are definitely times that I slip up because
I struggle. That's the one I struggle with.
Yeah, it's the only thing. That's the only one that I'm like, ooh. But yeah, Ezra Miller has been in the news a lot lately. They
Been arrested twice in the court in the span of a month
for
in Hawaii.
assault in Hawaii and
harassment.
And harassment, has had PPOs against them and whatnot. And that it seemed to be calming down a little bit. I mean, Warner Brothers even had a meeting because they play Barry Allen in the Justice League movie, and then they've got a movie coming out
in a year. It's already done. It's filmed. Yeah, it's in post-production.
It's finished. Yeah, they're just wrapping it up. It's supposed to come out, I think, early in 23. And
June next year, I think.
Is it June? Okay.
Yeah. They're saying it's just about a year away.
Yeah, Dutch, that's actually Z0 is a good one, but I think some of them are still kind of, they don't like that. Not all of the non-binaries like that one. So.
June 23rd, 2023.
Okay. So this time next year, so a year from now, The Flash is supposed to come out. But because of Ezra Miller's like drama, they actually had a meeting saying, do we want to continue forward with this actor? Do we want to continue? Do we even want to release the movie at this point? No, I feel they're definitely going to release the movie. They've already spent the money. I mean, it's $100 million. It's like a $200 million movie. They're going to
try and at least get their money back on it.
Yeah. And from what I understand, the initial, from some of the like things that I've heard about it, it seems like it's going to be pretty fucking cool, you know?
Yeah, the early viewings, I guess, or test viewings, I guess, have gone really positively.
Right, exactly. Now, it seemed to be calming down. The news shit about Ezra Miller was seeming calming down about that. But then they end up in the news again because now it's turned out that apparently this person has been grooming a teenager
since she was 12.
Since she was 12. And they've been friends, they've been, you know, whatever, they've been having some kind of relationship. They met her when they were filming. No, they met her when they went to a Native American retreat or something, some sort of on one of the reservations. They met her and then struck up a friendship. And I mean, apparently he even flew her out to England when they were filming the first Fantastic Beasts movie, because apparently this young person was a big fan. Now, apparently this girl is 18.
Mm-hmm.
She is, and she has made videos saying, I'm fine, I'm doing what I want to do, I am of my sound mind and sound body, whatever, and I'm, you know, I'm fine. In the meantime, her parents have, and apparently, I'm sorry, the young woman is also referring to themselves as they as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I guess in the paperwork they used she because she was still underage, or that was because her parents filed paperwork. Their parents have filed paperwork to basically create an injunction from Ezra seeing this person and spending time with this person. But apparently, you know, but they're everybody's adults here, so I don't know what you're gonna do now. There's also allegation. There's allegation that Ezra had sex with I can't remember the person's name.
It's Dakota Iron Eyes.
Dakota Iron Eyes. Yeah. So apparently Ezra had sex with Dakota before they were 18. I don't know if it was still age of consent or not, but I would think it was.
Let me just read this one paragraph from the article I found here. This is from the direct.com talking about this, and it says, just recently the parents of 18-year-old Dakota Iron Eyes filed a complaint to the Standing Rock Sioux Tribal Court to accuse Miller of grooming their child. Right. The two first met when Miller was 23 years old and Iron Eyes was only 12.
Yep.
And the parents claim the Hollywood star used violence, intimidation, the threat of violence, fear, paranoia, delusions, and drugs to hold sway over her.
Yep. I think I read that same article to Stella the other day.
And they can't find him. They're trying to serve him papers, and they can't find him.
Well, that's the thing. They're trying to serve both of them these papers because Takata is, what is it? Dakota is with them. Like they're together, but they've gone into hiding. Holy shit. Like when somebody goes off the rails, when this person goes off the rails, they really go off the fucking rails.
Well, and the thing is that this has been all over the news and stuff like that. And Ezra Miller has been responding with memes.
Like what the actual fuck?
Like a meme of like this thing that says you cannot touch me. I'm in another universe.
Oy vey.
Or another one that says message from another dimension.
Yeah.
I mean, just all sorts of things. Just there's been 5 memes that they've put out.
Look, everybody's an adult at this point. If he was grooming her from I keep forgetting Tokata. Dakota. If Dakota is an adult, they can make their own decisions. The thing is if Dakota wants to press charges that from things that Ezra might have done when Dakota was underage, I guess that's up to Dakota. I don't know. Maybe Dakota's parents can. I don't know. It's still fucked up, but at the same time, everybody's an adult at this point. I mean, should the parents, should all these people be getting involved? I'm kind of confused as to what the proper course of action is at this point. You know?
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, if there's evidence of Ezra being sexually like aggressive or sexually abusive or to Dakota before they were 18, then definitely that needs to be addressed. It needs to they need to be brought up on charges. But they also talk about like, okay, I mean, I don't know, man. This is one of those weird things, I mean, it's also like there's a lot of hearsay, there's a lot of like, is there evidence of it? And it sounds like, I mean, if Dakota wants to be with them, I think that, I mean, that's their decision, isn't it? I don't know.
At this point, yes. Up until this point, no.
No.
And the thing is that if Dakota has been groomed and most likely gaslighted and brainwashed,
can she make the right?
Can she make the right decision?
Right. Man, I would not want to be Mr. and Mrs. Iron Eyes right now, because like apparently he's a lawyer. He's a lawyer and she's like a pediatrician or something, I think, if I remember correctly. I mean, I would not want to be those parents right now, going out of their minds, wondering whether their daughter has been completely snowed by this very charismatic person, I mean.
Well, and the thing is that, did you see what the restraining order actually was? Ezra Miller threatened to burn and kill a couple.
No, I did see that. Yeah, I mean, CD's right. I didn't particularly like him as the Flash either, but Ghost was saying Ezra has had a history of alcoholism and being actually violent towards random people. Bare minimum, he needs rehab. Yeah. I agree. They need to be in some kind of rehab situation, and probably far away from Dakota, far away from a lot of, and probably I'd say probably needs to be medicated. I mean, they seem to be acting in a very, I don't know, maybe bipolar kind of situation. I mean, I'm obviously not a psychiatrist, but this is very unstable behavior.
Yes,
this person, and I think they need help. I think they need a lot of help.
Mm-hmm. I agree, but just damn.
So okay, so if any of you guys see,
anybody in Hawaii listening, because that's supposedly where they are, is in Hawaii.
Okay, well, if anybody sees Ezra Miller and Dakota Iron Eyes, although I believe they're going by a different name now too. Contact the authorities, because this sounds like a very dangerous situation, a potentially dangerous situation. It's one of those situations that makes me go, almost glad that I'm not a parent, because I would be going out of my mind right now if I was this person's parents, just what the hell? It's almost like Dakota has joined a cult of one, and Ezra Miller is the cult leader.
Yeah.
So anyway, we should probably move on to some other fun stuff.
Let's get into some fun stuff now.
So right after our show, pretty much the next day, last week, a really fantastic trailer was released.
Yeah.
Super excited.
Yeah, it was.
Not only am I a fan of...
Let's continue into the DC universe.
Continuing in the DC universe. Not only am I a fan of Dwayne Johnson, I'm also a fan of Shazam and the Shazam family. And Black Adam is definitely a big part of that. And so the trailer was released, and it looks baller. I was like, there was... DC is still a thing. Yes, DC is still a thing.
We'll see for how much longer between the Amber Heard and Ezra Miller now. But
yeah. Well, apparently, Amber, hell, from what I understand, they've pretty much removed all of her scenes from the new Aquaman too. So she had been delegated down to like 10 minutes of screen time, and now it sounds like they might have taken her out completely. Who knows? But I have also...
Can they do the same thing with Ezra Miller in The Flash?
They can't.
Probably
He's
not.
A big part of it. My guess is that Ezra is going to be. I agree with CD. Ezra probably going to get recast.
I think so. That's what they're talking about is going to happen. Is that they're going to release this and then they'll recast the Flash for anything future.
Yeah. Now there's also rumors that Zack Snyder could potentially be returning to the DC cinematic universe. He made a tweet recently about. It was a picture of himself with Henry Cavill, and Cavill was in the Superman outfit, and he said something to the effect of the best Superman, past, present, and future.
Yeah, and Ghost, that's actually one of the things that I wanted to talk about because Russ, you were saying you're a big Dwayne Johnson fan. I am too, but I am also a big Pierce Brosnan fan, and seeing him, as Dr. Fate, I'm like. Now, that looks fantastic.
A lot of this, I knew about a lot of this stuff, and they did a little bit of teaser images that we saw in one of the last big DC universe kind of fandom that they did. So I knew that Pierce Brosnan had been cast as Dr. Fate, but to see him, just like no bullshit, see him. I've always been a big fan of Dr. Fate. I've always thought that his costume was really fucking cool. He had a really cool just look, the helmet, the cape, and like later on in the 90s when they kind of added a lot of the Egyptian kind of decoration to his costume, because originally it was just blue and yellow, and the old Earth 2 Dr. Fate was very, very simplistic. This just looks amazing, and Pierce Brosnan's perfect. He's perfect to play Kent Nelson because he's an older guy. He's wise. He's like he kind of wizened kind of character, and I'm like, we've got images of Atom Smasher. We've got Cyclone. Hawkman looks unfucking believably cool. Mm-hmm. And then of course, like I said, Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam. That is one of the most perfect castings I've ever seen. Physically, he embodies the character extremely well. Now, Stella brought this up to me. And it's actually a pretty good point. In today's age of racially correct casting, the fact that we have a guy who is not Egyptian or Middle Eastern playing a character who is Egyptian or Middle Eastern, how do we feel about that? Now, Black Adam comes from a country called Kandak. I think it's Kondak is how you say it, which is essentially it's a fictional country, very small Middle Eastern country that is probably the equivalent, similar to Iraq. But there's also Egyptian flavor.
Let's say, but smaller.
I don't know if probably smaller. It's
because you say small in Iraq, that's not Iraq's not that small.
I think it's more like the country we defended in Desert Storm.
Kuwait,
thank you. Similar to Kuwait. So we got flavors. It's very Middle Eastern. We got flavors of Egypt. We got flavors of the Middle East, of like Iraq and Iran. I believe Black Adam is a character. I mean, he's from 3,000 years ago, so he's actually predates, Christ and all these other things. I think would it predate the Muslim religion? I don't know how old the Muslim religion is. I don't know if Black Adam is.
It's actually after Christianity. It's AD. Muhammad was like in 600 or something like that. AD.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Jesus is actually mentioned in the Quran more times than Muhammad is.
Really?
Yeah, he's a great prophet for them. They see him as a prophet. If I remember my Islam.
I loved Pierce Brosnan as Bond. I thought he was fantastic as Bond. I think he was easily one of the best Bonds for sure. He was very traditional James Bond too as well.
So this article that I just found says that he is actually ancient Egyptian.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, well, I think those were his original.
He was originally calling himself Teth Adam. Yeah,
it was Teth Adam, and but then they've made him so that maybe he conquered Kahndaq then, because they made him so that he was the ruler of a country called Kahndaq, and that was one of the reasons why the wizard Shazam,
here it is,
sent him away. Put him in.
Oh, it was retconned to be Kahndaq.
Okay, it was retconned. So yeah, so he had Egyptian origins, and then they retconned him into being like this. Kahndaq was this country, right? And he ended up taking over the country, became the ruler, and Shazam was like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do with this power. You're supposed to defend the weak, and protect the weak, and punish the wicked. You're not supposed to take over a country and rule over people, and Teth Adam was like, no, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to do, this is how I protect my people. This is how I protect the people of Kahndaq. I'm going to rule them. And so Black Adam was, for the longest time, he was Captain Marvel, or Shazam's one of his most powerful enemies, because he drew his power from that same wellspring that Shazam did. Although his powers came from different gods, because the Shazam is an acronym of, that they draw power from these gods. Teth Adam would get his powers from Egyptian gods.
Yes.
Whereas Shazam, or Captain Marvel, gets his more so from Greek and or Roman.
Well, and
Solomon.
Yeah, I was gonna say in Solomon, because
I
mean that's the thing. He kind of pulls from everywhere.
Mm-hmm. So, but you got to remember, this is a character that was created in 1940. I mean, so anyway, now I brought up the point of that Dwayne Johnson is Black and Polynesian.
Yeah.
So
which Ghost Hand just stated too, and I agree. Yeah. Dwayne falls in that category of ethnically ambiguous.
He does.
And he's part Pacific Islander and part Black, but people love him so much nobody cares.
Yeah, it's true. Nobody gives a shit, He is one of those guys. Yeah, he is the Scorpion King.
Yeah.
You're right. He was one of those characters that he's one of those actors that can kind of, fill a lot of fill in a lot of niches.
And Ghost Head went on to say that he's much like Terry Crews. He's so lovable, people would not care if you cast him in a non-typical race role. Man could play Abraham Lincoln and people would love it.
That's true. That is very true.
I want to see Dwayne Johnson as Abraham Lincoln now.
Yeah, you're kidding.
I want to see the beard.
Down the road with you. Jinx, I think, goes to those Dutch Coke, I think. So yeah, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, was Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
That movie was so much fun. Crazy fun. So anyway, Black Adam comes out in October, I believe it is. They pushed it. It was really supposed to come out this summer, but they pushed it. I don't think they wanted Black Adam competing with Thor. Although this movie does look like it's going to compete very well. I mean, I think it's gonna, man, because I mean, Thor comes out in 3 weeks, less than 2 weeks actually, and it comes out the weekend of the 4th, I believe, and we're looking at a pretty fucking fantastic movie there. So Black Adam, man, it just looks fucking incredible. So we're gonna see some really cool stuff. I don't know who the villain is in this movie. I'm really looking forward to see what the villain is, who the villain is. I want to see, I mean, how he fights with what happens with his combat with the Justice Society, because I mean, they've established, or these characters from the Justice Society, they've established that, I mean, Black Adam is part of the Shazam movies, and the Shazam movies are part of the DC cinematic universe. It's just a little more loosely bound. I mean, he mentions Batman, and he mentions, you know, I mean, if you see the deleted scenes, he's got Superman comes in and sits down to lunch in the cafeteria. So we have established that. So then, okay, where is Dr. Fate and Atom Smasher and some of these other characters fall within the DCEU? So I'm really fucking excited to see all of this shit. It's gonna be fucking cool as fuck. And honestly, Dwayne Johnson, man, the guy, I'd sit and listen to him, like, read the dictionary. I don't know, the guy's fucking,
dude. I watched that fucking movie on Netflix, Red.
Oh yeah,
or whatever, Red something.
Red Notice, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was him, Ryan Reynolds, and
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot. I watched that just because the three of them were in it. I'm like, I have to watch this, and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing.
It is brain candy. It is mindless fun, but
well, yeah, I would just honestly, you put Dwayne Johnson in a room with Ryan Reynolds, and you know the two of them are going to be, you know, ridiculous. You know, just like you're watching anytime Dwayne Johnson does anything with what's his name, the one really short comedian that's really
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, yeah. I mean, the two of them are apparently best buddies. They've done several movies together.
Well, the Jumanji stuff was just, I still haven't seen Jumanji 2, but the original Jumanji was so goddamn funny. It was way better than I thought it was going to be.
The one with, the first one with them, it was really funny. I got to admit, that was pretty damn hilarious. So, yeah, it's, I think these movies are going to be absolutely fucking incredible. And guys, definitely check them out. Definitely, please check them out. All
right, so why don't we go ahead and talk about some video game news, because we want to get through that, and then we'll see what we have time for as far as all of the fucking new shows that are out. So there was a huge event over the weekend.
Yes, E3. It was a digital event. They did not didn't have it. I believe it wasn't as big as it normally, they normally do. Because normally E3 is they're still kind of, the video game industry is still kind of reeling from COVID and COVID restrictions and whatnot. So
a lot of those big conferences still are too. They're still not quite ready to get back.
Exactly. So they had a more of a digital kind of presence, and I gotta say, they're turning out a lot of stuff. A lot of information came out, and it's pretty incredible. Bethesda itself did some pretty big stuff. One of which they trotted out a pretty big thing all about Starfield, because even though Starfield originally had a release date of 11/11/22, they have pushed that back to 23 now. To quarter Q1 23. They haven't, as far as I know, they still didn't do an actual release date, but they did show gameplay and game footage, and it is immense. They've already said that this is the biggest game Bethesda has ever put out. And between the two, all right, I'm looking that up. Dutchy, I'm looking that up later. Starfield looks immense. I've got a couple of different things here, some information about it. Starfield has more handcrafted content than any previous Bethesda game, despite a lot of procedural generation. Now, in Skyrim and in Oblivion, they used a lot of procedural generated kind of stuff, which basically is just the computer. they program into the computer then creates the locales, creates the environment and that stuff pretty much for you. But the apparently in this game there is a lot of stuff that has been custom made, pretty much like digitally created, digitally sculpted by the artists in this game. So it says Howard compares Starfield's procedural content to Daggerfall, the last Elder Scrolls game before Bethesda switched to handcrafted worlds in Morrowind, saying that Starfield will optionally provide the same sort of endless sandbox quest experience. Todd Howard has confirmed that Starfield's 1,000 planets will make use of procedural generation, but the game will still have more handcrafted content than any previous Bethesda game. They have also stated that there's going to be over 100 star systems for you to explore and over 1,000 planets. Holy shit. Yeah, I mean,
wow.
Now they did say also that this game, that not every planet's going to be interesting. You're not going to have tons of mini quests or side quests and encountering all kinds of crazy shit on every planet. There's going to be a lot of fucking barren planets. But on those planets, there still could be mining supplies or whatever else, because a big part of this game is also,
resource gathering.
Yep, resource gathering and management. Let me see. There is a couple other things here. Starfield lets you build and fly your own spaceships. You're going to be customizing. You're not only customizing your character, you're going to be customizing your spaceship. You're also going to be building outposts on various places that will gather resources for you. There's going to be a lot of building. Now, people have started to compare this initially to No Man's Sky. If you played No Man's Sky, particularly since they fixed the fuck out of it, because that game was patched. They patched the shit out of that game. They had to. But now that they have patched the hell out of No Man's Sky, it's actually a pretty awesome game and pretty spectacularly fun. But it is also a game that like, because I played it for a bit. If you're not into building, if you're not into like, creating your own like kind of space and building in a game, it may be a little bit harder to get into, because the storyline is also kind of difficult to grasp in that game, because there's a lot of characters that it's kind of interesting. You learn the language as you go. So like in No Man's Sky, you're encountering these aliens, and then you get in for more information, and then you slowly start to be able to understand what they're saying. So that's kind of difficult. But so like there has been a great deal of comparison to Starfield and No Man's Sky, but I believe I'm fairly certain that this is going to be even bigger. And of course, like any Bethesda game, there is a lock picking mini game. So anytime you encounter a lock here, there's going to be some kind of I gotta unlock this.
Now, Ghost said that there's another reason to be excited, and that's that the lead side quest designer is the same director of Far Harbor, the best component of Fallout 4.
Far Harbor was awesome. It really was. I'd say it was one of my favorite parts of Fallout 4 was Far Harbor for sure. I don't know if it was the best part, but it's pretty fucking good. I wonder if they got in contact with Hell Games and shit. Would not be surprised. Oblivion is taking a big step forward too. The Oblivion as part of like I think it's a side company with Bethesda or something like that, and I think they might have done some work for this as well. Let me see here. Let me see. I look at that one. If you guys can't check it out, you're gonna definitely. The gameplay reveal is about a 15-minute video, and it's hosted by Todd Howard. God, guys, the visuals look incredible. They really do. I mean, I'm gonna have to play this game on my computer because I don't have an Xbox, and it will be an Xbox exclusive, Xbox and Microsoft, PC exclusive. I might have to get a bigger monitor. I mean, I've got two monitors here that are exact same, and I've got one in the basement my brother-in-law gave me that's a little bit bigger, and I've kind of avoided because I like kind of having two monitors that are same size. Might have to get that out for this game because it's going to be amazing. some really incredible stuff. But I definitely recommend check out the video of the gameplay. The art is incredible. The design is amazing.
Now, along with that, that's how Xbox ended their big spectacular review. Mm-hmm. They do it every year, their showcase, and they actually did an extended showcase today, which was actually the same time length on Twitch and on YouTube. I haven't watched any of this, but I did find an article from GameStop that's talking about all the other games that they were announcing, including one that, honestly, this is another one that I think sounds fantastic. I haven't seen any gameplay videos yet, but the stills that I've seen look fantastic, and the concept sounds really cool, and that's Redfall. Mm-hmm. And which is it's from Arcane. It is it's a co-op shooter where
you're a vampire.
It pits you and several friends against a horde of vampires who've blocked out the sun and happen to have an army of human cultists to throw at you.
Right. I'm hearing good things. I'm hearing like this is a pretty badass game. And from what I've seen from some of the visuals, it looks pretty cool.
That is, when's that coming out? Scheduled for 2023 release.
Yeah, that is another
Xbox, PC, and cloud compatible devices.
Mm-hmm. I gotta admit, I have been and always have been a PC and PlayStation guy. With Bethesda being, going exclusive or being bought by Microsoft, it's making me go, man, maybe I can swing a two game systems. I don't know, but I think I had said before that probably the next Bethesda game that I would buy will probably be playing on my computer as opposed to my game system, because it's so much more. The modding is so much more available, and it's just better on the computer if you want to mod the game. So
now, one of the other ones that I was reading about that I haven't heard of, the graphics look kind of cool, and it's an intriguing idea. It's called High on Life.
Okay.
It's a new game from Rick and Morty's Justin Roiland.
Okay.
The developer Squanch Games and Justin Roiland have teamed up for a new weird and wacky game called High on Life, a first-person shooter where you play as a high school graduate who protects the planet from alien invaders. The game definitely has a Rick and Morty feel to it. For starters, the aliens are using humans as a drug. You're armed with talking guns, and you do some bounty hunting on the side.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be released later this year.
Now, does it have a similar look to Rick and Morty, or is it just...
No, it's very computer graphic-y,
okay.
But like the gun looks like... It almost looks like a worm, and with the face pointing at you.
Okay.
And with a mouth, so you can tell where it is. And then in the picture, you're holding a knife in the other hand that also, where the hilt would be, actually has a face as well. So you have talking weapons, and then you're shooting what looks like a bug alien type thing. So I might have to check it out at least. I'll have to at least check out some gameplay videos to see what it is. So Ghost said it's very similar to Solar Opposites, another Justin Roiland show. Yeah, I haven't watched Solar Opposites yet. It's on my list.
I watched the first season, and it's definitely entertaining, but it's you know what? It's a cool show, but it's definitely within that whole vein, that same vein of that kind of humor and that kind of animation and stuff like that. I'd say the better kind of show that has grown out of those guys is Lower Decks, because the guys that work on Lower Decks had also worked on Rick and Morty as well.
All right, see you, Dutch.
It's not bad at all. Hey, thanks for swinging by, Dutch. Gotta go. I'm on a way to get a curse from Microsoft. I think you would set. It's my fair and despair at a time. Oh, okay. Thanks, Dutch. I'll talk to you later. What else?
Overwatch 2 PvP is coming out in October.
Faux show.
The Only the PvP is coming out in October. The actual like campaign game is going to come out at a later time. But I mean, there's all sorts of things coming out. Elder Scrolls Online High Isle launches this month.
A big expansion.
Yeah, that launches this month.
So I got into that game when it first started, but it didn't grab me, and I think it's because I was so enamored of Skyrim and the gameplay for Skyrim. And Elder Scrolls Online is very different. It's an MMO. It plays very differently. But it is beautiful. It's a great game. It didn't grab me as much. And it got a
lot of flack when it first came out. People didn't like it. And I think it's because they were expecting Skyrim.
Right. But now that they've expanded everything, they've patched it a number of times. It's been out for a number of years now. It's like 8 years or something like that. 6, maybe not quite that long, but it's been quite a while. So here's another thing. Fallout 5 will come after Elder Scrolls 6. Bethesda did confirm that. They do have plans for it, but it's way far in the future because Elder Scrolls 6 is still in pre-production. They're not even. We're still several years out from that.
Well, yeah. So, and that leads me to the next thing I was going to talk about, which is another announcement they made was Fallout 76. The Pit launches in September.
Oh, cool.
So it's the next big expansion, and it's basically exploring Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Now that's cool because it's
an iconic location from Fallout 3.
Right. Fallout 76 has pretty much all taken place in Arkansas, essentially, or in the not Arkansas, like West Virginia or something. It's
in the Appalachians.
It's in the Appalachians. So to go all the way north, that further north into Pittsburgh, that's pretty fucking cool. Now I play 76. I haven't played it in quite a while.
Pittsburgh, I don't think is actually that far from the Appalachians.
Well, it's still much further north than where they were playing in the game, where you play in the game, from what I understand.
Because I was saying West Virginia ain't that far from Pittsburgh either.
Sure. But still, it's moving much further north than the way in the game. I don't know if it's going to just be added to the map or there's going to be like a transition or something. Now, like I said, I got back into playing 76 last summer. It's cool. I haven't played it in probably at least 6-8 months, but it is definitely improved a great deal from when they first released that game a couple years ago. They patched the hell out of it. They added a lot more content. It is pretty fucking awesome.
I actually still have not played any of the Fallout games.
Dude, start with I would say start with Fallout 3. Play that. You can get it on Steam for like $20, and then play Fallout 3, and then play Fallout New Vegas. And
I've heard skip 3 and just go to New Vegas.
See, now a lot of people do say that, but I say that you're doing it a disservice. And 3 is a great game. Fallout New Vegas is like it's pretty fucking awesome. And the cool thing about New Vegas is it made you you had to really think about your combat a lot more, because depending on the kind of armor of your opponent, the kind of armor that your opponent has, and the kind of bullets that you have loaded up into your gun, you may not be doing as much near the damage you need to do, because you need, like, they may have an armor that's resistant to piercing ammunition, but takes extra damage from explosive ammunition. So if you're loaded up with piercing ammunition and they've got that, you're fucked. You better swap out your ammo pretty fast. So there is that complication, but it adds that extra thing that makes it interesting and a little more challenging, but doesn't make it so much harder that you're ready to like say, fuck this shit, because I hate that. I hate that when a game becomes exponentially harder. If I want a challenge, if I want something that's just a little more challenging, then great. But I don't necessarily need something that just makes me angry at the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Fallout. So check out Fallout 3, check out Fallout, then go to New Vegas, and then do 4, because 4 is amazingly good. It's
in all my free time where I haven't even touched Elder Scrolls in like 3 months.
The nice thing about the Fallout games are they're a little more irreverent than Skyrim. Skyrim's a lot more serious in a lot of ways. But Fallout has, and I think it's largely because of the setting. The Fallout has a lot more, I won't say it's comedic because it's not, but it does definitely have a lot more like just there's just some intrinsic humor in various parts of it. Like the fact that like they have an entire like theme park based on their cola, on Nuka-Cola. An entire theme park that's just all about Coca-Cola, essentially Coca-Cola. There's it has this really cool vibe that way. And speaking of, I just finished playing the game Outer Worlds on my PS5 the other day, and Outer Worlds was designed and created by a lot of the people that worked on Fallout New Vegas, and I believe the Fallout franchise. So that game actually has a similar kind of irreverency. That's pretty cool.
Just a couple more I wanted to touch on from Xbox's announcements. Microsoft Flight Simulator is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year.
Oh wow, 40 years of Flight Simulator.
It's been around for a long time, and as part of that, they're giving everyone everyone that owns it gets a bonus. And it's a detailed replica of the Halo Infinite Pelican that's now available right now. If you own Flight Simulator, you can actually get that and fly that around.
That's kind of cool.
Arc 2 is coming out, the video game with Vin Diesel as the main character. It's got a cinematic trailer. Scorn looks very Geiger-esque from what I've seen. That gets an October release date. Flintlock Siege at Dawn, which is basically looks like kind of, I want to say, like, I can't tell what time frame. I think you go through different, let's see, from Ashen developer A44, is a third-person combat title where you'll be given the difficult task of standing against an undead army that has invaded the world of the living. It looks like it's back in, I'm guessing, the Flintlock days, so probably like the 1600s.
Which game is this?
Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn.
Oh, okay.
There's a new Minecraft Legends, a few other games.
So here's one. Here's one that I'm super excited for. I didn't think we needed The Last of Us remake until I saw it in motion. The Last of Us Part 1 wasn't necessary, but wow, does it look good. The Last of Us remake, don't need one. How can a game not even a decade old, one that has already received a next-gen aligning remaster, can be considered for a full remake treatment? This is how I felt when I first heard murmurings of a PS5 reimagining of Ellie and Joel's maiden tale, less than a year after I'd guided them through their second blockbuster outing in The Last of Us 2. Truthfully, the idea of Naughty Dog remaking the 13 masterpiece felt premature, in the same way young celebrities really don't write memoirs under the age of 25. So that's the thing. Last of Us Part 1 was first released on the PS3. Then it got a PS4 upgrade. And then last year, the Last of Us Part 2 came out, and it was one of the earliest games released for the PS5. I played Last of Us Part 1. I played it on the PS3. It was absolutely amazing. One of the best games I've ever played. Now, I did end up buying the PS4 upgrade. It was like $20. I was able to get it. And I've been meaning to replay it because I do have the Last of Us Part 2 and I really want to play it. Now I'm going to hold off probably and play the remake, because this is not just the reskinning it and, fixing, bringing it up to the graphics capabilities of the PS5. This is a full on, like, we've redone the game. It's the same dialogue, obviously, but it looks absolutely gorgeous. So you guys might want to check that one out. It's on the heels of the video of the TV show, which is going to be coming out pretty soon, I think on HBO Max. A little side note there. Yeah, a little side note too is that the actors that portrayed Ellie and Joel have both been cast as different roles in the TV show. Ashley Johnson, we are fans of Ashley Johnson from Critical Role, is Ellie, and got BAFTA. I think she won BAFTA awards for playing that part. And Troy Baker, who played Joel, are both going to be in the new show. So that should be really fucking cool. Yeah.
I'm looking to see when it's supposed to be out.
September 2nd, 2022 is the release of the redone Last of Us Part 1.
Yeah, I'm looking at likely begin airing in 2023.
The show?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, one of the only other things that Xbox announced was the 5th and final class for Diablo 4 will be a necromancer. I don't know that was a surprise to anyone, but
okay. All right. Guys, check it out. You can go to gamesradar.com. They've got a bunch of different kind of web, different places where you can look at where all of these games, with the various different announcements that were made. And there's some really amazing stuff coming out in the next year to 18 months. And we here at Nerds with Alcohol will be here to touch on a few of them. Because we can't touch on everything. If I was doing this exclusively professionally, that would be great.
Yeah.
So go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, so there's so much fucking TV on now.
All right, well, right quick, before you get into that, I just want to make a real quick thing. This year is Harley Quinn's 30th anniversary. Oh. And she turns 30 this year. DC is celebrating it in September. It says Harleen Frances Quinzel, aka Harley Quinn, made her debut on the small screen on Joker's Favor, the 22nd episode of the landmark animated series Batman the Animated Series, on September 11th, 1992, which of course means DC will celebrate her 30th anniversary in September in the Harley Quinn 30th Anniversary Special, a prestige format 96-page one-shot anthology that'll go on sale September 13th, just 2 days shy of the actual special day. Artists bringing the stories to life include Chad Hardin, Gilla March, Riley Rossmo, Stefan Sejic, Eric Harris, blah, 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 blah. Bunch of different artists, Terry Dodson, Rachel Dodson. There's going to be writers including Amanda Connor, Jimmy Pagliari, Mindy Lee, Terry Dodson, Cecil Castellucci, Raphael Scavone, excuse me. Like I said, Stefan Sejic. Really big deal. So, guys, Harley Quinn's 30 years old. How about that? She's been has become one of the most popular and influential comic book characters to come out since then. I think she really she wasn't as super popular at first, but once the ball got rolling on this character, and they started using her more in the comics.
She's one of the few that went from TV to comics.
Right, she was created on the cartoon and then was brought into the comic book, and it's actually a very rare occurrence.
Yep. So. And yes, CD, I did see that. I thought I had a feeling it was going to be Harley, but I did see that Lady Gaga is supposed to be in Joker 2.
She's in talks to be in Joker 2. They were also they're
saying it's like a musical,
possibly a musical too. So which it sounds like bullshit to me. That sounds like a lot of people. They just started talking about maybe making a Joker 2. And I think, honestly, the first Joker, the Joker movie was a good movie. It was twisted.
It's not the Joker.
It's not the Joker. It is a Joker movie, but this is not the traditional Joker. This is not the traditional DC, setting. The Joker is not 30 years older than Batman. And that's what it would have been, or 25 years older than Batman. That's not the way it works. And but if they want to continue on with that setting, all right, fine. But there's a lot of people that are saying, but wait a minute, what about Margot Robbie? You know what? Margot Robbie was Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad movies. She was Harley Quinn. We've seen her as Harley Quinn. She does great as Harley Quinn. But if they're going to continue on with this Joker, they need a different Harley. And if Lady Gaga wants to do it, hey, go for it.
Yeah, they need to just not tie that in at all to anything.
They need to not make it a musical. Please don't make it a musical. God, please, if you can hear me. Yeah.
So
that was all I wanted to see. It's a Harley Quinn 30th anniversary.
That's all right.
TV.
So yes, so TV. There is so much TV we can't talk about everything that's on right now without it being a show of its own.
Right. A whole other hour.
Yeah, it would be to talk about every show that's on right now and basically in depth talk about each of the episodes would take up an entire show each week.
Right.
There's just too much between Strange New Worlds. See, I got a list over here. Strange New Worlds, The Orville, Ms. Marvel, Obi-Wan, The Boys. We got Umbrella Academy starting up. Stranger Things. There's so much out there right now. I'm actually trying to catch up on. I've been watching. Like I'll watch an episode of Stranger Things, and I'll watch an episode of The Boys, and I'll watch an episode of Stranger Things, and I'll watch an episode of The Boys. Part of that is because they're both very heavy in their own way, but they're different enough that it doesn't feel like I sat and watched 4 episodes, 2 of Stranger Things and 2 of The Boys on Saturday morning, I think it was, and I was okay.
Yeah. Whereas
a lot of times I watch 4 episodes of one of those shows and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, right. I'm going to see if I can maybe do a bunch of Stranger Things watching over the next few days, because I've got some days off here, so I'm gonna try and
this season is really good. The 3rd season was kind of you just gotta get through it.
I gotta watch the 3rd season.
Yeah, but this one's really good. So far,
let's start with Ms. Marvel. We'll go into Obi, and then we'll go into Stranger Worlds, because honestly, CD watched
or the Orville
and the Orville. I think we can touch on all 4 of those relatively quickly.
Ms. Marvel, the only thing I'll say, I watched the first episode today.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Super cute.
I think it's got potential. It was better than I thought. Honestly, I was trying to think about it. I'm like, what does this remind me of? And the way that they were doing things, and it finally hit me when they were doing the texting back and forth, and the stuff in the background was changing. Right. I'm like, it's got the feel of Scott Pilgrim.
Sure. Yeah. You know what? I've heard several people say that. And personally, I think this Ms. Marvel spectacularly good. I think that it's going to be, it's made for a younger audience, than more of a family oriented audience than say Moon Knight was. Moon Knight was really dark and violent. So I think this show is going to really appeal to more of a family audience. I love the fact that they are leaning into the ethnic, her struggles with being a Pakistani American teenager, Muslim Pakistani American teenager, which is what they do in the comics. I love that she is a big superhero nerd and just loves what she loves, and she's passionate about it. I love that they're showing that she has problems, and it's hard, being a teenager these days. I thought that the guidance counselor was a crack up. I really dug, like what you were talking about, the graphic, stuff that they did in the background when she and her friend are talking about how she's going to punch up her costume to make it different. And they got all the imagery going up on the walls. And, do I do zombie Captain Marvel? Do I do, Asgardian Captain Marvel? I thought
Strange Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Strange Captain Marvel. And then when she's texting with him and they got those different images going up in the bricks and on the different, I thought,
and the signs are changing. And
the signs are changing. It's almost like the environment is a character as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really, really cool. Now, one of the things that people have complained about is the fact that they changed her power set. In the comic books, she's a metamorph, meaning she can change the shape of her body. And one of her big things is that she does something that she calls, she embiggens, when she grows to a larger size and stomps down on something. It's what she does in the video game. It's what she does in the comics. She also stretches her fists out and shoots her and makes her fists really big, and boom. Now instead, she seems to be able to manipulate in the show. She seems to manipulate a energy field of some kind, to the
It's a mystical thing.
Yeah, that she can change the shape of it. She can, she saved that girl from falling by stretching it out and catching her. Really, you know what? I'm okay with this. I mean, there's always some transition from comic book to movie that we have to accept. And, in the comic, she's also in Inhuman. They're getting away from that, like the whole Inhuman thing as much. So by making her more of a, some sort of power that she's tapping into, whether it's mystic or whether it was awakened within her, I don't know. Hopefully we'll see more detail about that origin. But I thought this is the beginning of a really good show. Now, unfortunately, the show was review bombed on IMDb particularly by a Facebook group that was all about, it was like Christians against Ms. Marvel. Now, this Facebook group has also changed its name a dozen times because they keep coming up against finding something wrong with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It has been Christians against Loki, Christians against WandaVision, Christians against, Avengers Endgame. They keep finding different things just to be against, because they're saying they're like, why is this teenage character, Muslim character, erasing, Captain Marvel, and why is she being replaced? And we will not be erased. And it's this whole different fucking character, dipshit. It's not, Kamala Khan is not replacing Carol Danvers, It was unbelievable.
Yeah. So one of the things that I did truly enjoy in the show were all the little things at AvengerCon.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the whole Steve Rogers thing where, you're welcome, America, and it's him standing there and his ass is protruding out. And it's got like lines around it.
And how Scott Lang seems to have kind of turned himself into kind of a minor celebrity. Like, because he wrote a book
and he's doing a podcast. Or like they had signs, you could buy, like, I can do this all day, and just like little things like that they had in there, and they were playing the Man with a Plan song when they get in, and I mean I really liked a lot of the little things that they threw in.
I did too. I thought that was really, really creative.
So I do think this show has potential. I wasn't sure about it at first, but I will continue watching it and seeing. I think that the creators of the show were huge John Cusack fans from the 80s because of the way her drawings come to life, like his did in Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer.
Now, the interesting thing too is a lot of the creators are Middle Eastern and Pakistani and Muslim creators, a lot of the directors, the writers. Honestly, actually, and one of the actresses, I think playing Kamala's aunt, is Angelani Bamani. She's actually taken part on Critical Role. But was part of the first two EXU shows, Exandria Unlimited. She's actually a voiceover actress, and
she's the one that was in the dress store. She's not her aunt, yeah. I don't think. She's one of the
maybe one of the ladies in the neighborhood. But
that's what it is. It's
she's credited as auntie something.
Well, yeah, it's the aunties. She called it the aunties, which basically it's like in the Goldbergs.
Right.
It's like the
Yentas.
The Yentas. It's the same thing. It's the women of that culture who all act as aunts to everyone else and tell them what they think. And
I loved how her family, like, because she kind of, she fucked up or whatever, and she wasn't going to be able to go because her driving test. Yeah. She wasn't going to be able to go to the to Avengers Con. So her mother went, all right, dear, we'll do something different. Your father is going to go, your Abu is going to go with him, with you, and you are not going to wear some strange costume. You're going to wear this. You're going to be the Hulk, and Big Hulk and Little Hulk. And then Dad comes in the costume, and he's got green makeup on his head. And I was like, I thought that was adorable because the family, she's obvious, and Stella didn't, she was like, man, she seems like she's kind of a spoiled brat. She's being kind of a brat. I go, not a spoiled brat. She's she's really frustrated because she wants to be able to express herself,
Yep.
but she can't because of the expectations her family and her culture has on her.
Yep.
And so she's like really frustrated.
And that was one of the things. I felt bad for her father because he was trying to do something nice for her, and she snapped at him and basically said, "You look ridiculous." And
hurt his feelings, really hurt his feelings. And in the comics too, her dad knows about her powers and was the first one in the family to know about her powers, and was very supportive of her finding her bliss and being the hero she wanted to be. So, like I said, her dad particularly in the comics wins Dad of the Year awards because he's really great. And I liked how mom and dad were really, it looked like they made an effort. I mean, she whipped those costumes up like overnight. It was really funny. Like when the boy or her best friend, her best friend, when he's like helping dad set up the little gadget that he made, and he's like, oh yeah, and I've linked everything together, and you can, and then the mom comes in and she's like, oh, would you like something to eat? And he's like, oh no, I'm fine. She's like, oh, I'll get you something. She goes into the kitchen and in like a minute comes back with a stack of fucking food things. He's
like, how did you do that? You have your thing for these gizmos. This is my secret.
This is my thing. Yeah. I was like, oh man, that's so great. So I think
she is like every first generation mother that I've known. Or second generation mother. Like anybody, if they are off the boat,
there's something like
that's exactly. Renee's Oma is like that. She is you hungry? No? Okay, I whip something up.
Yeah, my great grandmother was the same way. Yeah, you're so skinny. Why don't you eat more?
Yeah, my buddy's mom, who is Italian, she's like, you staying for dinner? No, thanks. I had something before I came over. Yeah. Okay. 5 minutes later,
you've got a plate of pasta.
5 minutes. Yeah. 5 minutes later, she's like, okay, but if I put a plate in front of you, will you eat something? Okay, yes, I'll have a little. And I take just a little bit of pasta, and she's like, and I go to pass it, and she grabs it and starts scooping more onto my plate. She's like, you're so skinny, you gotta eat more.
You gotta eat more. It's an insult to not eat. That's true. It's correct. Thank you.
She was also the type that she's like, oh, the neighbor gave me a bag of apples, so I had to make apple pie.
Right?
Two different kinds.
And here, and take a pie with you. Not on. My grandmother did do that. My great grandmother did that all the time. My grandfather and grandmother tended to. I think they kind of worked it out of their system a little bit, but my great grandmother was, oh my God, constantly. So anyway, guys, check out. It's every Wednesday night. It's for the next few weeks, next 9 weeks, I think it is, and then after
it's an hour. It's an hour show, so
it's an hour show. It's 6. Okay, so the next 6 weeks. So it's 6 weeks of that. Then we get a little break, and then we get into She-Hulk. So that's going to be pretty cool. So Obi-Wan.
Yeah, Obi-Wan's episode 4. We basically get it's Obi-Wan going to rescue Leia,
right,
from the Inquisitors at their home base, which they find out is in the Mustafar system.
Right.
Ooh, say it again.
Mustafar.
That's what I've always thought when I hear Mustafar. But so we get that. It's a whole like infiltration episode where the woman who helped him escape from that planet now helps him get in there and basically blows her cover as an Imperial officer.
Yeah, she sneaks in there. She does a pretty good job, and then she pretty much ends her ability to be a spy. Yeah. I liked how she was like when third sister like is talking to her and she goes, "You're a spy," and she goes, "Well, of course I'm a spy." I've been spying on them for 2 years, and I was just like, oh man, that's brilliant. Because at first I was like, I didn't know who to believe. I was like, oh my God, is she going to turn on Obi-Wan?
And then she sold out her friends to try and buy time.
To buy time, to get the princess and to give Obi-Wan time. I've heard some people complain about this one because it was kind of a far-fetched kind of thing. And then you've got, there's a point where Leia was like, in the room and she's getting ready to torture her. And the whole time Leia's like, no, help me. Cut to Obi-Wan. No, help me. No, help me. Cut to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
No, help me. And it's like, okay, that's supposed to be going on at the same time, guys. This is why this is happening. But it did seem like a little forced. And but I did I thought there was one of the things that I thought was a little unbelievable too is that like the previous, like 2 episodes ago, Obi-Wan was having a tough time. He had a tough time. It took all of his willpower to be able to catch Leia when she was falling from that building. And yet now in this episode, he's holding back an entire fucking lake of water from going into that.
Even earlier on in this episode, he's trying to move something and he's struggling.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, it was taking all of his strength to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm still enjoying the show a great deal. And I think we are now, as the show is progressing, I think we're seeing Obi-Wan get his legs back up. We're seeing him kind of get back to being the Jedi that he once was.
It's like riding a bike, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because he's got this great motivation now, particularly when Leia was recaptured. And it was great seeing Vader again, like, you know, just ready to choke her out. And she's like, I got tracker, you know.
And as soon as she said that, I went, it's the droid.
Oh yeah, I know, right? I was like, I didn't get that one until this last shot, and it's the droid. I'm like, oh, she hit it in the droid. What a bitch, you know? Like, we got 2 more episodes of this show, and I'm excited to see where how it's going to end up, because I mean we know how it's going to end, but we still that's the thing about shows like this, prequels and stuff. You know how a show is gonna how the story is going to end. You just but getting there, it's going to be interesting to see.
It's like riding a speeder bike. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to watch out for the fucking trees, man.
I always thought that was so stupid. They got speeder bikes on a planet that has so many obstacles. Speeder bikes on Tatooine makes sense,
right? But a speeder bike's in a primordial forest. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, I'm not getting out of first gear. I'm sorry.
Those trees were 10 times the size of fucking redwoods. I mean, they were big around as buildings. What are you gonna? I mean, I guess that would make them easier to miss, but no, man. If you've ever played Battlefield or Star Wars Battlefront, the first one of the things was getting on a speeder bike and trying to fucking. No, man, you crash after 3 seconds every fucking time.
Fucking time.
It was like, I think I played it over a friend's, and I must have restarted at least a dozen times before I even got remotely into that level. And then I still, then it was another dozen times before I never beat it. I was just like, fuck this. So Obi-Wan, still, I'm not disappointed. I know CD said it. CD wasn't a big fan, if I remember correctly. I mean, and you're liking it, but you still have.
I have issues. I mean, especially with the bond that Leia and Ben are forging.
Mm-hmm. I still say the points that John brought up to me about like her initial reaction when Luke comes in and saves her, and I'm here with Ben Kenobi, and she's like, Ben Kenobi. I mean, I
still don't buy.
It's a little thin, but it's there, man.
I still don't buy the first part though, where the General Kenobi, you served my father in the Clone Wars. That I still have an issue with, because especially as this bond grows. Mm-hmm. So it's one thing if he just rescued her, took her home, and left.
Yeah,
that's one thing.
Sure,
I can see it. But they're forging a bond.
Yeah, sure.
He's like an uncle now, the way that they've been interacting, and I don't see her being that formal in that saying. It would have been, hey, Ben, I really need your help. You helped us before. You served my father. You rescued me. I need your help again.
See, and I feel you on that. I get what you're saying. I still think though she was appealing to him as an ambassador, and an ambassador, as a formal ambassador of Alderaan. an ambassador is not going to appeal on a personal level. She's going to approach him as an ambassador, and she's not going to bring up something personal like that.
If she was truly going to see him that way, yes, but she was in the middle of a fucking invasion of her ship.
Okay.
That's not the time for a formal address. That is a quick and dirty, hey, Ben, I really fucking need your help again. I'm about to be captured.
All right, well, that is another good point. But that's the other thing, though, too. She wasn't appealing to him to come and rescue her. She was saying, these plans are in this droid, the plans for this, whatever. Yeah. I need you to get this safely to where it's going. If she was saying, holy shit, I need some help, I'm gonna get tortured here, then maybe. But yeah, see, it's just, I think we're gonna hopefully we'll see how they kind of resolve that, because you're not the only person that I have seen that has that issue, that is having this issue with that story point. So I think hopefully we'll see some kind of resolution in the next 2 episodes. So yeah. We should move on. The Orville. You've seen the first episode, right?
In the first episode, heavy fucking episode.
Heavy, man. It was about suicide, crying out loud. It
was about bullying and suicide and suicide because you were bullied.
Right. Exactly. From
the aspect of a non-feeling robot, but
right, but still, I mean, a character, a person, a member of the crew, basically was bullied to some extent. Was at least he was ostracized. He was, treated poorly, and because
I wish you
of
were
it,
dead.
Yeah. And that, the kid was one of the worst parts about it. He ended up saying, logically going, my presence is a detriment to the morale of the ship. I'm going to take myself out. And I was like, ooh, I do appreciate the fact, and I do like the fact that the Orville is tackling these societal issues that we're dealing with, that even in the future, the idea that we ain't perfect. And
you're right, CD. He did turn on them to start it all.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was, I mean, the guy, Isaac is in a difficult spot, but I do like the fact that this show is dealing with our societal ills, and that even in a far-flung future, we're not perfect. I mean, it is, as much as I love Star Trek, and I will be a Trekkie till my dying days, that, Gene Roddenberry's vision of the future is that we have fixed pretty much the majority of our problems, that Earth is a paradise, and there's a lot of things that, I mean, we humans are still fallible. We're not perfect, but we fixed a lot of things, even like something to say, well, how come Picard still is bald? Haven't they cured baldness? It's like, no, it's more like people don't give a shit, that he's bald. It's like we're not quite as vain as that, they like, people don't have that. He does not have that same kind of thing. The first season of Picard since Kill All. Okay. I personally love the first season of Picard. I mean, again, easy audience, but I really dug it.
Let's not get distracted by Picard, though, and go back to the Orville.
True, exactly. I think the first episode of Orville was a really good kind of reintroduction to it. It showed how there's obviously an upgrade in the special effects.
Yep. And Renee just brought up a point. The Orville has a very realistic outlook on how the human race would actually turn out.
Right. That's the point I've made several times, is that the Orville is, as much as it is a love letter to Star Trek, I feel like McFarlane's kind of view of humans and of the future of Earth, it's a lot more realistic. The fact that they still get paid, that they're still, there's still like a monetary exchange, that kind of thing. There isn't a transporter. There's not, there's a few things that are just a little more viable about the Orville, which is one of the things that makes me sad that this is most probably the end of an Orville TV show.
I guess from what I've heard is that they've left it open at the end of the season.
Yeah, and they've also, although they've been released, everybody's been released from their contracts. they have left them open to the idea and the possibility of returning for possibly like a movie or other things, you know.
Yeah, The Expanse is definitely very realistic.
Oh, The Expanse is probably one of the most realistic
And
visions.
Renee and I need to get back to that, but there's like 800 hours of TV between now and then. So
now the second episode of The Orville basically is it's pretty cool. I'm not going to go into, you got to watch it, but it also deals with relationship issues. It deals with the unknown and going out in unexplored space, and some pretty cool stuff. And it kind of sets up a potential like alien race that could be also dangerous that we might see again. So that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing where Orville goes this season. Yeah. I'm still loving Strange New Worlds. I think Strange New Worlds is probably the best Star Trek I've ever seen. I actually like it. I like it more than TNG.
Really?
And, yeah.
Wow. I think CD mentioned about how he's really enjoying it as well. Are you caught up?
One episode behind.
Okay, so you still got to watch the Spock and T'Pring.
That's episode? The one I just watched.
This is the one you just watched. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The next one is all right. Okay. The Spock and T'Pring episode was great because it was a very classic. Like it's almost like a cliche. Oh no, two characters, their minds get swapped, and now there's hijinks. And I loved how actually Spock and T'Pring actually used the term hijinks.
Yes.
I thought that was really funny. I thought it was a lighter episode, but it was a really cool, kind of fun episode. And
honestly, I'm just loving Anson Mount as Pike. I mean,
man,
he is so good.
So good, man. He's so fucking good. The next episode is also very cool. We get to see Captain Pike kind of reunite with an old flame, and there's some serious like kind of ethical and moralistic kind of things to deal that he has to deal with when dealing with an alien culture that isn't part of the Federation, but they're they're friendly with them, but they're not an actual part of the Federation. So it's some pretty cool stuff. I mean, I'm loving the development of the characters. I'm loving how like I said, Spock and kind of trying to work out his relationship issues with his fiance. Personally, I love T'Pring. I think that the actress who's playing her is not only is she gorgeous, but she's just fun. She's really bringing it.
I feel the same way about Nurse Chapel too.
Yes. Oh, she's so cool, man. She's so cool.
She's so pretty and just so cool.
Yeah.
And her relationship with Spock, I think, is developing really cool too.
Yeah. And once again, we know that Spock and Nurse Chapel had in the original show had kind of a romance. It was something that was almost like it was an unrequited kind of thing. And you could tell in the show that Spock appreciated Nurse Chapel, but he also was going, he's Spock, I mean, what is he going to do? And but she Chapel almost kind of pined for him for a while.
That's true, CD. That actually would be pretty meta, is if they had Nurse Chapel do the voice of the computer.
That would be pretty fucking cool. I'm loving. I just love everybody on the show. I like Hemmer. I think he's really cool. I'm loving the bridge crew. I'm Ortega. Ortega's awesome. I think she's going to be kind of on some level. I think she's kind of going to be the Reno of this show. Reno from Discovery. She's really cool as hell.
Noonien
Singh. I'm interested to see more about her because she's just angry girl. She's an angry tough chick, and I want to see more for her. But I think they're going to do some really cool stuff. And of course, number one, Una is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, and the actress who plays Captain Pike's love interest in the next episode was on she was a regular on The Librarians with
Rebecca Romaine. Okay. I actually had to look up the character of Singh and just to double check, and yes, she is related to Khan.
Yeah. They made a point that she is actually a descendant of Khan Noonien Singh.
Yep.
She's not an augment, but like Una is, but she is.
But she grew up hearing augment and
right because of her last name.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's really fucking cool, man. I'm loving this show. I think I won't say it's my favorite Star Trek ever because it is going to be. It's hard to top. For me, it's hard to top Next Gen. It's hard to top DS9. I think DS9 was some of the best Star Trek we've ever had, particularly in the later seasons. But
Renee's watching that right now, and she actually just said that she just realized today that Dr. Finn from the Orville's was on DS9.
Oh yeah. She was a regular. She was she was the captain's girlfriend and whatever. Yeah, she was. I'm blanking on her name right now, but yeah, she was a regular. She became a series regular.
One of the things that I think I like about Strange New Worlds over the other ones is that there isn't as much. Well, it's still there. There isn't as much camp as in the other ones, and that I think that right from the get-go, the dialogue and stories are better.
On which? On what?
On Strange New Worlds.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All the other ones, they were really stiff at the beginning, and these characters actually seem to have depth.
There's a lot of it's a little looser, I think,
yeah.
And I think that comes from the fact that Captain Pike he's a very loose captain. He's a very personable captain. He's not stiff like Picard was, and I think he's a little more business than Kirk, but at the same time he's still I think a lot of this comes from the fact that he kind of knows what his future is, and so he's kind of shooting from the hip a lot more, and I think the crew feels it, you know. I gotta say though, I mean, I love the aesthetic, and I love even the fact that they've got an episode where he's wearing like the greenish tunic that we see.
That's the one I just watched. Yeah.
Birkin. Yeah. So, and in the one, in the following episode, he's wearing the gold shirt again. And the woman that he had been involved with, she goes, your uniform, it's very yellow. And he's like, well, it's gold actually, because I'm a captain. Yeah. Because apparently he was a lieutenant before, but, it's actually command. It's the command colors. I'd be interested to see when they switched it. You know, because in Next Gen
from command gold to command maroon.
Command maroon, yeah. When they made that change. So I do think it's absolutely fantastic, and I am really excited to see how they develop this and where they go from it, and how far they're going to go, how many seasons it's going to go before it catches up, before it catches up to TOS. I mean, they've already said that they've cast that we will be seeing James Kirk at some point. And we've already seen his brother who is on the Enterprise. So I'm like, where is this going to go? How are we going to do it, man? It's going to be so cool. Some of the best Star Trek we've ever seen. It's right now, I want to see. I actually, the guy who plays Saru, help me out with names tonight. I'm blowing it tonight.
I'm blanking now too.
On he's the voice of the body actor.
It's Dave Jones.
No, you're close. It is Jones, but it's not Dave. Discovery. Doug Jones.
Doug Jones. It was a D.
Close. You're close. You're close. Doug Jones just posted on his Instagram, I think it was, either Instagram or Twitter, shaved his head. He goes, it's that time. Zip, and he shaved his head. And he goes, it's a personal choice. I do it because so it's easier to get all my Saru bits to fit. and so that he doesn't have to do like a bald cap, but they have to spend the time in a bald cap. And so they are starting on filming of the new season.
Cool.
Of Discovery.
Well, we should start wrapping things up. We're at 2 hours, or getting close to 2 hours. One last thing, and I know we don't have time to get into it, but have you been watching The Boys season 3 so far?
Yeah, of course.
Dude, man, Homelander is an evil motherfucker.
Man, they're making him. I mean, it seemed like in the
I've only watched the first 3 episodes, but fuck, is he evil?
Well, it gets worse in 4. I mean, R.I.P. Timothy.
Yeah, that was 3. Yeah, that was
rough, man.
That was one of the most evil things I've seen anyone do.
He's like begging. He's begging me. He's got children. He's begging me not. I can't eat fucking Timothy. You know, and you're like, oh my God. And then, but that's the thing. Like in the second season, they really tried to go into more and more and explain why he is the way he is. You know, I mean,
I don't give a fuck.
No, I know. He is a broken person. He is destroyed and broken. He was abused psychologically. I mean, they had to do these things. They felt they had to do these things to him so they could control him because he's so powerful. There's no kryptonite for this guy. They had to have psychological things to control this guy. And that's why he had this milk fixation, and he had this fixation with being, cared for by a womanly, matronly figure and things like that. And so you kind of go, oh, I get it. The guy he's been fucked with his whole life and his brain is a mess, but he doesn't rise above it. He leans into it and he gets even worse. I mean, there's a point where he says something to the effect of, I prefer to be loved, but I'm okay with being feared, and you're like,
what it is he's a superpowered Donald Trump.
He's a narcissist to the nth degree. Yeah, I mean, they call him that in the show.
And when he realizes that, when he just goes off the rails and says exactly what he's thinking, people love it, and he's like, oh, well, I'm going to do more of that then.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, his Q rating goes up, because he's just like, oh, wait a minute.
But we'll get into more about the Boys. We'll put the Boys on the list for next week. So we should wrap things up for tonight.
Guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Dutch, CD, Ghost Hand, thanks for joining us in the chat. It was great. Dutch, it was great seeing you this weekend. We'll definitely do that again real soon. Renee, of course. I was getting to it. Renee is always a big help, and Wings Kook, we always appreciate your input. CD, Invincible, yes, that's the real version, and that's incredible. I cannot wait. They are working on season 2 right now, so sit tight. Guys, we are available in all the places you can find quality podcasting. Check us out on Stitcher, on iTunes, on the Google Play Store, iHeartRadio, radio.com, Audible, or not Audible, the Odyssey app. We are on Spotify. We're on all the places. Check us out. Just type in Nerds with Alcohol and you'll find us. We are here every 8 o'clock, every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, and as close to 8 o'clock as we can make it. Guys, we also have our D&D show every other Friday. Not this Friday, but next Friday. I'll be back, thankfully, and so will, hopefully, I believe, Alexandra. So
yes, she should be back too. So we should have a full table.
The full table. Chris, I will be listening to the show soon, probably over the next couple of days, and I'm sure you will be getting a "what the fuck" text from me. Point, guys. Hey, locally, if you're in the area this weekend at the Canterbury Village, just type in. I believe it's in Auburn Hills,
Lake Orion.
Lake Orion, thank you. This weekend is the Pirates and Princesses weekend. I believe it or not, the Pirates and Princesses weekend. Great family thing, kind of a warm up, kind of a Ren Fair light, I'd say, kind of warm up kind of thing. I will be there playing a piratey character. His name is Marcus Kent, and he is a let's say Jack Sparrow without all the drunkenness. But I'm going to be there, and there's going to be all kinds of great things. You might want to come check it out. Good times. But yeah, be sure to check us out every opposite Monday here on this channel too for our wrap-up shows, our tavern talk shows where we talk D&D and specifically our game.
Yep. And remember, you can follow us on most of the social medias. We're on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show.
Just lots of smites. What? What?
We're on Twitter at Drinking Nerds and Instagram Drinking Nerds. And then, of course, YouTube Drinking Nerds. I will be putting up the last 2 episodes of Nerds with Alcohol because I realized I've kind of fallen behind again. So I'll be getting those up in the next couple days.
That's why we need a tech guy.
And then, well, dude, I'm busy.
I know. That's why we need a tech guy.
I love my new job, but it's definitely, I'm definitely doing a lot more work. And that's fine because I'm enjoying what I'm doing again. For the first time in years, I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing again.
All right.
But yeah, so check us out there. Remember, YouTube, smash the subscribe button. Well, you'll always know when we put something new up. I'm also going to be working on getting the episode from last week up on YouTube later on this week. It is still available on Twitch if you want to go back and watch it for the Tavern Night show. So yeah, should be a good
guys.
time.
We're at 70 followers on Twitch. Let's see if we can get that up. Let's see if we can get that up to 80 before the year's out. That'd be great.
Yeah, we can get 100. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, 100 would be great before the year's out. That'd be really cool.
So, and thanks, CD. It really is. I'm truly liking where I am. I think I'm going to be here for a long time.
That's good.
It may mean that we have to cancel some shows once in a while because I will have to travel occasionally, but hopefully it won't be too much.
All right.
So
we can cope. It's okay.
Yep. So all right. Well, I think on that note. Until next time. Slancha. That one rang out pretty good.
It was pretty good. Yeah.
All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.